Alright, we are looking at foam rolling today, the initial part of any warm-up for a session that you're going to run. Foam rolling is used mainly to release tension in people who are feeling particularly tight with absolutely very, very limited range of movement available, obviously caused by the fascia surrounding the muscle, creating tension. We want to loosen off that tension through the fascia to allow our muscles and joints to move more. We've got a couple of different methods we can use for any self-myofascial release with varying effects and different purposes. We've got your hard, knobbly foam rollers, which I don't like as much. We've got your more specific trigger point balls, which we can use to target very, very local areas, so very, very pinpoint areas. We've got your standard foam rollers, which are a bit flatter, which look nicer than the horrible spiky one, but to be honest have better results, I tend to find. You can also use something like a hard wooden stick that we can use to trigger point certain areas of the body. I can't really demo it right now because I'm wearing shoes, but if I wanted to stand up and if I wanted to release the Achilles tendon at the bottom of my foot, I could use a trigger point ball, for example, obviously in barefoot, to release the midfoot, going from left and right, straight from heel to ball of foot. And I could also use this wooden stick here to pronate my foot and roll the outside of my foot, and I can do the inside as well with a wooden stick. Again, these are just examples of things we can do with certain bit of kit. I'm just going to explain briefly how I'd go about loosening off my hamstrings with a standard foam roller. We want to hit the major muscle that is locked up and tight, so for example the hamstrings, classic case. If I want to loosen off the hamstrings, I'm going to have to hit all three major parts. I'm going to hit the major tissue of the muscle underneath, I'm going to hit the outside, the lateral part, I'm going to hit the inside, the medial part of the hamstring. I also want to go one joint up and one joint down from what I'm trying to target. Again, the body is a chain, it uses, everything connects in a line, so I can't just hit the one muscle on its own. That's not going to really help me. If I go one up and one down at least, ideally if I go front and back as well of those areas, that's when we're going to start seeing proper effects, start seeing proper results with these things. So to start off with, I'm just going to go for hamstring. Now my hamstrings aren't feeling particularly tight, so I'm just going to go straight in with single leg work. I've got my left foot on the floor for now, just to keep a little bit of weight off. So this should feel like there is some tension through the hamstring. So this should be a slight discomfort, but it shouldn't be like 10 out of 10 pain. If you start crying, that's too much pain. You've gone too far, you're probably not going to get as much benefit out of it as if you would if you just pulled it back a little bit, dialed it back. We're looking for about 5 out of 10 on the pain scale, or around that. Again, if you go too low, if there's just nothing on, if I went to double leg, you can't really feel anything happening there. You will see people just kind of going through the motions because they've been told to do it, but they can't really feel anything happening. They're not really going to get any benefits at all out of that foam rolling. So if I'm progressing through it, I'm going to do the main meat of my hamstring right on the bottom. I'm going to go from right just under the glutes all the way to the knee. So I'm doing the full length of the muscle from here. If I want to make it harder, I can lift that heel off the floor, so now I've got more weight pushing into my hamstrings. From there, once I've done 10 or so rolls, I'm just going to turn my foot in so I can hit the inner portion of the hamstrings. That's going to be a little bit harder. It's not going to be as nice. Again, 10 or so rolls through, and then I'll turn my foot out to the outer portion of my hamstrings. I'm not foam rolling the IT band at the moment. The IT band itself will get released by foam rolling the hamstrings and the quads and the adductors. You don't normally need to foam roll the IT band itself to release it. It'll get released with everything else around that area. If I was just doing generic foam rolling, I just wanted to loosen off my hamstrings as a whole, I would do that kind of method. If during my foam rolling I kind of hit a point of a sticking point, a point of tension, I can not necessarily a knot in the muscle, but a point that I really can feel, ooh, that's a sore spot there. If we get one of those spots, so let's say I'm doing the inner thigh and I can just feel a spot here, I will just spend 30 to 45 seconds or so just rolling an inch or so up and down over that point. So just oscillating through the movement, just a nice gentle rocking backwards and forwards, just going right over that bump of tension that I can feel. Again, up to 45 seconds or so, and then once I've gone through that, then I'll come back into my full range of movement foam rolling just to release it effectively. Once I've done the hamstrings, I should probably do the quads as well if hamstrings are feeling locked up. I'm just going to show you the glutes and the calves as well. So again, one joint up, one joint down. So let's go for the glutes first. Again, you pretty much just sit on the foam roller. I'm not sat neutral on it, so I'm not just sat in the middle. I'm kind of off to slightly one side, so that I'm just hitting one side of my glutes. And again, when I'm doing this, we've got pretty much go straight to bone there, so that won't be very comfortable when we're doing it with this. So I'm just going to foam roll the glutes from there. Again, obviously the glutes are a large muscle, so you can't just do one bit. You're going to have to hit the outside and inside as well. And then same when we go for the calf, so same kind of principle. I would do the main portion right down the middle. Again, going from knee all the way up to my ankle. And then I can do medial on the inside with my turning my toes in. I can do lateral on the outside by turning it out. Again, so to effectively foam roll an area, so that's just an example. Make sure we are going at least one joint up and down from the major area that we're looking for. Ideally front and back of the muscle as well, not just the thing that we're thinking about. And if you find a sticking point, ideally 30 to 45 seconds of just rolling over that bit on its own. So that is a very basic look at foam rolling. I'll see you next time.